All right, you're still on to Today with John and Helen live from Plus TV Africa. John, unfortunately, is not here today, but we will get this show on its feet. I will assure you that it will be worth your while, you know, at the end of the show. So we take you straight at this point to the conversation that is centered around Made in Nigeria. And the subject we're looking at is the real price business. Are they paying? How are they paying to achieve this? And to help us dig deeper into this matter is the head designer, OAIV. Please tell me, what is OAIV?
It's an abbreviation for my brand name.
Okay.
Adedoyin IV.
Okay, so OAIV Clothing, and he's Adedoyin Dolapo. Thank you so much for accepting to be here with us today on the show.
Thank you.
So we'll go straight. What is the level of ease of business in Nigeria for made in Nigerian goods at this point? Ease of business, how easy it is, how difficult is it?
At this point, I would say a strong 4.
It is
over
what?
10. A strong 4 out of 10.
Okay, a strong 4.
Yes, because the effectiveness of enforcing contracts is not something that is well fleshed out. Like, for example, you're running a business and you have to work with artisans.
Okay.
How do you enforce your contracts with them? How do you make them keep to their conditions or the statements that you've put out? Like, okay, I want to achieve so, and so. This is my target. Yeah. So how do you enforce that contract with them? Then the institutions we have in place to support and enhance doing business are not very effective. Okay. For example, getting loans. So as a SME who's coming up, most cases you do not have the funds to strike out or start the business. So getting loans, getting support in form of loans is not easy to achieve. It is doable, yes, but it's not a very easy process.
Which area, for example, is more profitable? You know, making apparels for the male or for the women, or for corporate Nigeria, which is...
I would say corporate Nigeria is more preferable because it comes in large quantities.
Okay, okay. Yes. All right. So the dollar hike, you know, every day you go to sleep, you wake up and it's a different story. How are you coping with that?
Well, we are modeling through.
You're modeling through.
Yes.
You're
there's no
modeling
easy
through.
answer. There is no easy answer. We're making the best of what's available, but it's not been easy.
Okay. Having a conversation with you earlier, you mentioned being a victim of a robbery that resulted in, you know, you were stabbed in the course of running your business. How did you encourage yourself to continue after that kind of experience?
To be honest, it's tied to survival. When you know you do not have other options available, you know, if I just give up at this point, that's it. So I cannot let myself...
Because that business seems to be like risk-free to an extent in terms of safety. Yes. You know, it's like a safe area. Yeah. So when you have an encounter like you did, you know, it would shake anybody.
True enough. There's trauma attached to it. But I had to make that decision that regardless of what has happened, I have to make the best of what I have.
Out of it.
Yes.
All right. So what specific support should the current government, for example, provide for made in Nigerian brands and services? You know, we're talking at this point that it's better for us to be a producing nation than a consuming nation. So what do you think? How do you think government can really move from that point of just talking to actually coming to help people like you?
Okay, so I would say, for example, I mentioned earlier access to loans. So getting access to loans is one thing, but getting loans with low interest rates, a whole different ballgame. Okay. So incentive in the sense of having access to loans with low interest rates would motivate people to make more efforts. So if you know for a fact that if I go into business, my government is willing to give me a loan with a very reasonable interest rate, I'll be less scared of taking risks. Okay. Yeah, because at the end of the day, if the business does not pan out, the money involved is not so great that it will wreck the person.
What's the interest rate like now? Where is it?
I'm not certain.
Which means you haven't tried to get a loan?
I haven't. But based on conversations I've had with people, I think it's about as high as 8%. Yeah, so I don't think that's something that's...
And that has deterred you to even find out. Because I think you should. You have a right.
Yes,
you have
I
a
do
right.
have a
Taxpayers' money, you know,
Yes.
it's what money is there and it should go around to help
Yes.
young entrepreneurs like you.
True. Yeah, and something else to consider when taking a loan is it sure bet?
Okay.
Yes, like so.
Is it sure bet? Will you get it?
Will you get it? Then would you get returns? Because most times when we go into business, it's passion driven.
Okay.
Because we believe we can make it, but believing you can and knowing for certain,
They're two different things.
Exactly.
Okay, so how is the patronage from within Nigeria towards made in Nigeria products? You know, in the past, anything that is made in Nigeria were like is inferior. Has that changed?
To an extent, yes, but not 100%. So awareness has grown for made in Nigerian brands because certain individuals and certain brands have been able to set themselves apart. It's like with the quality of service, quality of customer service, customer relations. So the impression has changed above board generally.
Okay. So we're almost there, 2024. We're counting days. We're almost seeing it. All right. If 2023 hasn't been the year that you thought it should be, you know, business-wise for you, what should made in Nigerian brands and people like you do differently in the new year to achieve better results and better patronage?
First off, I would like to say we should focus more on vertical integration in the sense that we have access to everything we need.
What's vertical integration?
So like for someone who produces, having everything in-house, from fabric, sewing, print, packaging, to the finished product.
How about partnerships? Finding one or two people who could, you know, collaborate with you if you can't afford all of this.
All of that, yeah, that works also. But with someone that does not have a reputation, getting set partnerships will be difficult. So to a larger extent, it's not possible to get the entire process in-house, but get as much as you can. So you're able to maximize your profit margin that way. Then obviously we have to work on customer relations and making more use of promotions. Most people just assume that because I have a good product, it will sell itself. That doesn't always work. So we'd have to be able to like engage ad companies, PR companies to get the best image out to the public.
And credibility too.
Yes.
Because artisans, they give you a date to come pick your stuff and you're like, okay, you probably start worrying them 1 week before that date because there's that issue of credibility.
Credibility, yes.
Okay, so we wish you the very best in 2024. And we're proud that we have young people like you who are going head on, you know, no matter how difficult things are in Nigeria at this point in time, to say, yes, we can do it.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming. All right, that's our conversation with Dolapo looking at made in Nigeria products or goods. How can we make it better for everyone who is involved, you know, in the image of this country through what we can produce and probably export in the new year. We hope you got one or two tips from his conversation, and he will be back on the show much later in the new year to tell us how 2024 is faring. We move on now to our next guest. He's already in the studio. I said earlier on, Jesus Soldier himself, Reverend Ben Eragbaye. He's got some very good information, very useful information for us. But we'll take a quick break. When we return, he will be sitting right here. Don't go away.